be seated. We will start soon. If you could please take your seats now. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. Trust you slept well after an action-packed day yesterday and are all set for another exciting and stimulating day today. Yesterday was about listening to inspiring people share their experiences and their vision for the future for reimagining the world. And also, hopefully, about catching up with old friends, remembering the nicknames we used for each other on the Institute campus, and wondering how they originated, celebrating each other's personal and professional achievements, and also, sadly, missing some friends who are no longer with us. Today, we go the next step in re-examining our circles of life, work, and societal impact, to reconnect with our inner selves, and in the process, perhaps even redefine the pursuit of happiness. It's my honor now to welcome today Sadhguru Jaggi Vasudev, founder of the Isha Foundation. Yogi, mystic, and visionary, Sadhguru is an author, poet, and spiritual master with a difference. His life and work serve as a reminder that yoga is not a discipline from an outdated past, but a contemporary science vitally relevant to our times. Probing, passionate and provocative, insightful, logical, and unfailingly witty, Sadhguru's talks have earned him the reputation of being a speaker and opinion maker of international renown. Ranked among the 50 most influential people in India, he has spoken at many prestigious forums, including the World Economic Forum, the United Nations, TED, YPO, leading business schools, and universities. Sadhguru is the founder of Isha Foundation, a non-profit organization dedicated to the well-being of the individual and the world. It has over 3 million volunteers across the world and runs large-scale grassroots projects in ecology, health, and education. We will now have a short video, after which we have the honor of welcoming Sadhguru on stage. Thank you.
In the next half hour, you're going to meet a man who has a devoted following across India and indeed around the world. While yoga and meditation are at the core of his teachings to promote individual growth, the work of the foundation covers conservation, education and health. And you'll find him astonishingly pragmatic on a range of very modern-day problems. Let's meet Sadhguru.
For the very first time in the history of humanity, we have the necessary resource, we have the necessary capability, we have the necessary technology to address every human problem on the planet. Even 25 years ago, we couldn't have dreamt of it. But the only thing that is missing is consciousness.
Today, the spotlight is on a project called Green Hands in India.
We started a mass campaign and 6 years I spent planting trees in people's heads. That's the most difficult terrain, believe me. And now in the last 6 years, we've been transplanting it, and that's happening much more easily.
Action for Rural Rejuvenation is mainly aimed at rejuvenating the human spirit.
English and computer skills are very essential to make these children come out of the hopeless economic and social pit they are in.
If you could first tell our viewers, what is the idea behind it? Initiative, insight, which is more specific towards entrepreneurs.
Whatever the nature of your business, ultimately, it is all about human well-being.
Isha Foundation, a non-religious, non-profit public service organisation headquartered in southern India.
We've engineered the outside world in so many ways, but we've done nothing about this one.
If you want to know well-being, in is the only way out.
This is what I want to teach you too. That is, you can be completely intoxicated without any drug, just on life. This is a shift from vine to divine.
How can you love one and hate the other when the same divine exists in all? Spiritual process is not about looking up or looking down, it is about turning inward.
See, the only thing that I'm really good at is just this. I can just make the air around me just crackle with energy.
If you have to describe yourself in one word,
Would you consider wildlife as two words or one word?
it's
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Sadhguru ji.
Jananam sukadham maranam karunam milanam maduram smaranam karunam कालवशादिह सकलं करुणं समयाधिपते अखिलं करुणम्. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. I said good morning. At every point in human life, for every intelligent human being who is willing to look at their lives with some sense of openness, questions will arise. Is audio okay? It's coming back to me. Questions will arise. Am I really doing the right thing? Is my life going to waste? These questions will arise for every human being. Successful or not so successful, it doesn't matter. Only for those who are a bit thrilled by themselves, such people won't get questions. They will address this question on their deathbed. For everybody else, with every step, questions will come up. Is this the way I want to spend my life? Because what you consider as life is just a brief amount of time. If you're joyful, if you're a very joyful and exuberant human being, it's a very brief life. If you're miserable, it's a long life. Because you have noticed in your life, on a given day, if you're very happy and exuberant, 24 hours pass away like that. You're miserable or depressed, then a day seems like an eon. So time is a very relative experience. Those who are successful, reasonably joyful, questions will come up because time is just slipping away, life is just slipping away. Is this what I want to do? Is this the way I want to be? So reinvention becomes a relevant factor. Before we reinvent, let's understand the word invent essentially means, in its Latin origins, it means to arrive. To arrive means, if you're in a haze of something, if you come beyond that, that's generally considered arrival. And when we say an individual, the root word for the individual is indivisible. That means you are not further divisible, you have become an individual. But that's not happened to most of the human beings on the planet. They are still an accumulation of many things finding expression. If you are sincere enough to look at yourself, unprejudiced looking, if you do, you will see what you consider as myself is a combination of many influences, too many influences. Your parentage, your genetics, your education, your exposure in the world. Slowly you have accumulated your persona. Persona or personality is a hodgepodge of many things. You can't arrive as an individual in that. This is why it doesn't matter what kind of personality you have built, there is always a certain sense of lack of ease in these things, because it's an accumulated concoction. An individual means not further divisible, that means you have become a being, not a person. Personality is there to work in the world, you need a persona to face the world. But this is an individual being. When I say not further divisible, in the world you do it in so many ways. If you're getting spiritual, you will become an expert in dividing yourself into many things. You will always hear language like this. If you're doing something, if you do it the way you want it, it's you. If you're pleasant, it's you. Suppose you turn nasty, you look back and say, that was my ego. And people will go further and say, this is my soul, that is my self, that is my Atman, that is my Paramatman. If there is more than one within you right now, that means you're either schizophrenic or you're possessed. You either need a psychiatrist or an exorcist. You must decide which one. Because there is only one here. But this is taking on many forms as per convenience. The most important thing is an individual cannot be reinvented, but has to be discovered, has to be explored, because personality has been invented by you. This being is not your invention, this is creation and the source of creation. When I say the source of creation, if you ate a banana in the morning, in 2 hours' time, this banana transforms itself into human form. So the source of creation is throbbing. Because one is not in touch with that, people are trying to make up their personality, they're trying to invent themselves. If you want to function at your highest level, you should not invent yourself, you must discover the nature of what this is. These things are happening because there is no experience of what this individual is, so we are making up things. We make up things by identifying ourselves with many things that we are not. Starting from the body, it is obvious that you were not born like this. Were you? It's a question. Were you born like this? You came like this and became this much now. I'm asking, are you all natural birth or did you drop from heaven, please? Hello? All normal birth? Not a heavenly drop. If you're normal birth, you were born like this and now you became like this. Obviously the body is an accumulation. The content of your mind is also an accumulation. Everything that you have is an accumulation. What is an accumulation can be yours, can never ever be you. What you accumulate, you cannot consider that as myself. So fundamentally, because one does not strive, because the society in which you grow up, because the education systems did not make any effort to connect you with the dimension of this individual who is not further divisible, you start identifying with things. The moment you took on identity, your mind works only around what you're identified with. There is a very beautiful situation which occurred in Akbar, the emperor, his life. When he was very young, when he was an infant, due to some political situations, he was separated from his mother for a period of time. Because he was separated from his mother, they brought in another woman who also had a child to nurse Akbar when he was an infant. So, she had a boy who was a few months older to Akbar, and she breastfed both these children. Later on, Akbar's mother came, and at the age of 12, he was coronated as the king. By the time he was 25, he was known across the known world as a great emperor. Somewhere along the way, he gave a few villages to this boy who was the son of this lady who breastfed Akbar, because Akbar felt, we drank the milk of the same mother, so both of us are brothers. So he gave a few villages to his elder brother. But by the time he was 30, that man lost everything and again penniless. Then one day he got a bright idea. He thought, my younger brother has become a great emperor. If I go to him, maybe something will come my way. So he came. Akbar was deeply identified with this. We drank milk from the same mother, so we are brothers. So he welcomed him with the honor that should be given to an elder brother and brought him in and kept him in the court. But he is a village dud who doesn't know one thing from the other. He just looked around at the things that were happening in Akbar's court. Akbar had gathered enormous talent of musicians, mathematicians, all kinds of talent. He looked at all this, dazed by this. Then time to leave was coming. Then one day he told Akbar, see, the reason why you are doing so well here is you got some really smart people around you. If I had such people around me, I would also become a great emperor. Especially you have this Birbal, he is too smart. If I had a man like him with me, I would also build a great empire. Akbar felt very guilty that his elder brother is feeling like this. He told him, if you want, you take Birbal with you. So this fellow felt very encouraged and said, yes, if Birbal comes with me, I will also become a great emperor. Then Akbar called Birbal and said, my elder brother wants you to go with him. You go with him and do whatever you need to do with him. Birbal's eyeballs rolled. What is he going to do with this fool? Then he said, my lord, why me? I will send my elder brother with your elder brother. And Akbar also was relieved because he didn't want to lose Birbal. So he asked this fellow, is it okay if Birbal's elder brother comes with you? The fool thought, if Birbal is so smart, his elder brother must be super smart. And he said, yes. Next day morning is the send-off party, the full assembly of the court. He is leaving, the brother, elder brother. Birbal walked into the court with a bull on the rope. And Akbar looked at this and said, what is this? He said, my lord, you wanted my elder brother to go with your elder brother. Here he is. Akbar got really angry. Are you trying to insult my brother? He said, no, my lord, we drank milk from the same mother. The moment you get identified with something, your intelligence is just wrapped around this identity. It is because of these identifications, not one, many, a complex web of identities, you become a person instead of being an individual. A person means a mess. There is no person with clarity. A personality means it's a mess of things. So many things put together, hodgepodge. Depending upon what you're exposed to, you become a certain kind of person. But beneath this, if you have to gather all this, there is something more fundamental, which is the individual. The individual being is there. That is why these accumulations of stacks of accumulations are possible. These accumulations can be analyzed, broken down, but the individual cannot be further broken down, it's indivisible, that's why it's an individual. In this haze of identities, which are essentially only in your memory. When I say memory, there are various types of memory. There is evolutionary memory, there is genetic memory, there is karmic memory, and of course there is conscious memory. All these things are playing up every moment of your life. If memory is playing up and determining what you do and what you do not do, what you're open to and what you're not open to, that means you're a prejudiced life. Because however much you might have experienced, past is a limited happening. What you have gathered is a limited quantity of information. From this basis, if everything else is happening, at the most you will make a living, will not make a life out of it. If you want to make a life out of this, you must find this individual. You cannot invent him, you have to discover this individual beyond the haze of personality, beyond this maze of identifications and memory. Otherwise, life becomes repetitive. If memory is determining the nature of your life, I want you to look at this. Right now, what you like, what you do not like, whom you sit with, whom you do not sit with, where you go, where you do not go, how you think and do not think, everything is determined by past memory. When memory is determining it, that means you're going in cycles. That means it's repetitive. If it's repetitive, then somewhere there will be some sense of frustration deep down. You may keep yourself entertained and busy not to face it, but if you face it, you will see there is a deep level of frustration. This is showing up in many ways, in the sense, if you look back on your childhood, when you were 5 years of age, other people thought you were a child, but in your experience or your situation was that of a slave, in the sense, when you want to sleep, they will tell you, wake up. When you want to play, they will say, sleep. What you don't want to eat, they say, eat. What you want to eat, they say, don't eat. Where you want to go, they won't let you go. Where you don't want to go, they want you to go. Yes or no? But you did all those things joyfully. Yes? Today, if I ask you to do one thing that you don't like, you will go into deep depression. At that time, you did everything that you don't like. I want you to understand this. As a child, most of the things that you did are things that you don't like. School is not the place where you wanted to go, play is where you wanted to go, but they told you this is it, so you went there. Everything like this. But if you look back and see, in 24 hours' time, when you were 5, 6 years of age, how many moments of joy you knew at that time? How many moments of joy you know now that your life is completely yours? If you look at it, has it gone up or gone down? Hello? Gone down? That means it's not working. Somewhere there is a deep sense of frustration because deep down your intelligence knows this is not it. On the surface, because there is competition, you are one step ahead of somebody else and it's keeping you going. This is why you will see most people look profoundly at their life, unfortunately, only when they fail. When failure happens, illness happens, loss happens, they will sit down and look at their life profoundly. When they're in success, they don't have the brains to look at their life profoundly. Something has to go wrong. This is very unfortunate. When everything is good, you must look at your life as profoundly as possible. You don't wait for a disaster to look at your life with some profoundness. Once you're into the trap of this memory repeating itself, the repetitiveness of life, the repetitiveness of who you are, because personality is a limited amount of information which is going on repeating itself, will slowly cause a deep sense of depression. You may not be clinically depressive, but you're not smiling as much as you smiled when you were 5 years of age. That means you're moving towards depression. Before you get clinically depressed, you may be dead, that's a different thing. But it is happening to everybody. Yes or no? Am I being very cruel to you? Hello? I'm being too cruel to you, early morning. But All surgeries are cruel, but it saves your life, okay? Therapies may be pleasurable, but it may not save your life, you may die in pleasure. This happened in 1910. There was a man whose name was Topiwala. You know what Topiwala means? A hat seller. He was going from town to town, village to village in the tropical sun and selling hats to people. One afternoon, he came and sat under a tree. He was tired. He opened his meager lunch, ate, and he fell asleep. Don't do that now. When he woke up after some time, he saw that his entire stock of hats were gone. He was distraught, he looked all over the place, who took my hats? No sign of the hats. He looked here, there, everywhere, no hats. Then you do everything possible with all your skills of management. When nothing works, what do? Look up. So he also looked up. Then he found a bunch of monkeys, all of them wearing hats and sitting there. Then he screamed, they screamed back at him. He abused them, they abused him in their own language. He picked up whatever he could and threw it at them, they picked up whatever they could and threw it at him. Not knowing what to do, out of sheer frustration, he took his hat and flung it on the ground. All of them took their hats and flung it on the ground. He picked up his hats and went about his business. 2016, 23rd of September, another man, his name also Topiwala, was going from village to village selling hats. In the afternoon, he came and sat under a tree, opened his elaborate lunch, 21st century. You have more elaborate lunches than any generation ever on the planet, you know that? But you can't eat a full stomach anymore, that's a different deal. But you have more elaborate things. So he opened his elaborate lunch, ate, and promptly fell asleep. When he woke up, all the hats were gone. He didn't look here and there, he looked straight up. There he saw a bunch of monkeys wearing hats and sitting. He stood up and jived. They all jived. He made funny faces at them. They made funnier faces at him. He had all the fun he wanted to have. When he was done with it, he took his hat and flung it on the ground. A big baboon of a monkey quickly came down the tree, picked up the hat, walked up to him, gave him a tight slap in the face and said, "You idiot, you think only you had a grandfather?" There is scientific evidence that monkeys are evolving. I'm saying there's no such evidence about you. I'm saying scientific evidence. There is scientific evidence monkeys are evolving. No such thing about the human beings, because once you've become a human being, if you wish, you can consciously evolve, otherwise you can stagnate, otherwise you can roll back. A monkey cannot become something less than itself, but a human being can easily become much less than himself or herself, isn't it so? Yes? Can become more or become less, because now we have the option of evolving either consciously further or regressing backwards. Both are open. This is the danger of consciousness, that it opens both the front door and the back door. If you are truly conscious, you will move forward. If you are not, you will move backwards. In the name of moving forward, in the name of becoming successful, a whole lot of people lose the fundamentals of their humanity, not because something wrong with them, simply because they are trying to operate out of memory. Because from the first day you went to kindergarten school, your teachers and the education systems eulogized memory. You must remember all this nonsense, then only you will make it in life. Memory has been blown out of proportion. Memory is useful for survival. Memory is not useful for the blossoming of this individual. Because if something new has to happen, we have to distance ourselves from everything that is in our memory of all kinds, not just conscious memory, karmic memory, genetic memory, the evolutionary memory. Unless we distance ourselves from that, something new cannot happen in this one. Otherwise, we keep, fooling ourselves with small things that we do and think we've done it, think we've made a change. It happened. A man was sitting at the golf club and seriously drinking just after noon. Someone came and looked at him and said, "Hey, what happened? Why are you like this?" He said, I teed off and I shanked the ball. The ball went straight into the highway, which is adjacent to the golf course, and hit a windshield of a car and hit that person, and that person lost control and went off the median to the other side. A bus that was coming hit the car, overturned, and a huge pileup of traffic happened. Dead bodies and broken limbs all over the place. "Oh my God, what did you do then?" He said, "Well, I changed my stance and reduced my backswing." People are making these kind of changes and thinking life has changed. Life has not changed. Life does not change unless you become free from the cycles of memory which take possession of you from inside. Your memory bank has possessed you. It will not allow you even to like something that you have not liked in the past. It will not allow you to speak to somebody that you think is not okay. It will not allow you to do anything new, it just recycles. You may adjust your stance, your backswing may change, but still the same thing. Same thing will go on. So if you really want to reinvent, it's not really an invention, it's already there. The most valuable thing, the most precious thing, the most fantastic thing about the human being is we can be conscious about the nature of our existence. When I say being conscious about the nature of our existence, we know, if you pay little attention, we know that this moment what is not me, next moment I can make it a part of myself. The water in this vessel is not me, but I know if I drink this, it'll become a part of myself. Once I have a little taste of this, if you're willing, you can make the entire universe a part of yourself. Or in other words, the boundaries that are drawn by your persona can be erased so that if you sit here, you experience yourself as an explosion of creation, because that's what it is. We can go step by step. We were talking about food, but what about your breath? As you sit here, there is a transaction going on. You're not some kind of a solid state life. If you don't understand this, close your mouth and hold your nose like this for 2 minutes, you will understand. Every moment you have to transact with the world. What you exhale, the trees are inhaling, what they exhale, you're inhaling. Every moment the transaction is going on, not just on the level of respiration. Every subatomic particle in this body is in constant communication with the rest of the cosmos. Now I'm not talking philosophy to you, This is fundamental physics. You are not an exclusive existence. You are part of the larger existence. Only thing is, existence has given us such a privilege, though we are just a part of everything. As we sit here, we have a sense of being individual. This is the most fantastic thing that's happened to life. Actually, your body is just soil. Soil became food, food became body. If you don't get it right now, one day you will get it from the maggots. This is just what you picked up from the planet, this is a piece of the planet. As you breathe, what is everywhere is you, what is you goes everywhere. And this goes further even in the subatomic level, this is happening. But the important thing is, still we have a sense of being an independent life. Though not for one moment can we exist here without the rest of the existence constantly supporting this life every moment. So what you call as my life is, to give an analogy, it's like a bubble. As children, you blew soap bubbles. Hello? Did you blow soap bubbles? You must go and do it today. Really, lot of things you've forgotten how to do in managing the world. If you blow a soap bubble, it's real, it's there. But if it bursts, what happened to this bubble? The air inside the bubble has again become part of everything. This is how we are. When we are here, we are real. So many countless number of people who were here before you and me came, they were also smart people, believe me, don't think you are the first generation of smart people. They were also very smart people. They also did big things in their life. They also thought they were doing great things in their life. But where are they now? They're all topsoil. This will also become topsoil unless your friends choose to bury you real deep, you know. Because there are instances where some people have risen from the dead, that's why. If they fear that you may rise from the dead, they may bury you real deep, but anyway soil, all right? Because we are going about conducting this life from a limited amount of gathering we have done in our head. This is okay as a survival process. This is okay as a way of making a living. You can't make a life out of this. You can't create something truly beautiful out of this. As you can see today, as a generation of people, we know more comfort and convenience than any other generation ever on this planet. Do you agree with me? Hello? Those of you are not talking in talking terms with me, I'm asking you also, do you agree with me? We are experiencing more comfort and more convenience than any generation ever in the history of humanity. But have we become the most joyful people on the planet, most loving people on the planet, or even peaceful people on the planet? No. This is because life does not work like that. Comfort and convenience is fine. This is all part of survival process. Life will not blossom, this individual will not blossom by arranging things around you. It doesn't matter, the arrangement is furniture, homes, wealth, memory, knowledge, relationships. These will not make the individual flower. These will make you forget about the individual and manage life somehow. But slowly, without any reason, you have really no logical reason, but slowly, how joyful you were as a child, if you look at it today, slowly it's sinking. It should not be sinking, because you're successful, it should be rising, isn't it? But it's not rising, especially if you're successful, slowly it is sinking. Not because there's something wrong with your life, simply because a distance between the individual and the persona. As the persona grows, the distance is increasing. As you lose contact with the source of your life, you will see slowly this becomes like this. You will have to tickle yourself to laugh, otherwise nothing will happen. When you were a child, somebody had to make you unhappy. Today, somebody has to make you happy, because this is like this. On a certain day, can I risk telling you a story? Those of you who just come out of a party at 6 o'clock in the morning, I'm asking you, can I risk telling you a story? Because the moment I say once upon a time, people think it's bedtime. Okay, not so long ago, on a certain day, a bull and a pheasant were grazing upon the field. The bull was chomping on the grass and the pheasant was picking ticks off the bull, partnership. There was a huge tree at the edge of the field and the pheasant looked up at the tree and said, "Oh, alas, there was a time when I could fly to the topmost branch of the tree. Now I do not have enough strength in my wing even to get to the first branch of the tree." The bull very nonchalantly said, "That's no issue. You eat a little bit of my dung every day for the next fortnight, you will get to the topmost branch of the tree." The pheasant said, "Come on, what kind of rubbish is that?" The bull said, "Really, try and see. The entire humanity is on it." Very hesitantly, the pheasant started pecking at the dung, and lo, on the very first day it got to the first branch of the tree. Within a fortnight, it got to the topmost branch of the tree. Went and sat there upon the tree, just beginning to enjoy the scenery. The old farmer who was rocking on his rocking chair saw a fat old pheasant on top of the tree, pulled out his shotgun and shot the bird off the tree. The moral of the story is, many times even bullshit can get you to the top, but it never lets you stay there. So, as a person thinking that meeting somebody will get you up, drinking a glass of wine will get you up, little entertainment will get you up, yes, everything can get you up, but like that and again down, like that and again down. If you want this life to be super up all the time, you have to become an individual. That means you're not further divisible. You cannot be analyzed, you cannot be dissected, because this is the fundamental, which is called as the individual. Personality, accumulated stuff, you can accumulate whatever you want, that's your choice. Every human being is free to accumulate whatever he or she wants, but that is an individual choice. But the fundamental thing is, the life that you are, if it doesn't come into your experience, if you don't turn inward and experience the fundamental nature of this individual, you will see your well-being is very circumstantial. You need a certain incubator to be reasonably sane. If the incubator is pulled out, you will see people will be shattered. If the situations around them change dramatically, they will be broken, most human beings on the planet, because they haven't found nothing within themselves. They've always tried to arrange their life outwardly, and maybe they've made a reasonably good job of it, but that will not bring ease. If there is no ease, if you sit here, if you don't know how to sit in absolute ease, then you have not tasted life. Only psychological drama is happening. 99.9% of the time is spent in thought and emotion. Yes? Your thought and emotion, your psychological drama has become bigger than the cosmos, more significant than the cosmos. See, this solar system in which we are is a tiny speck in the larger cosmos. Tomorrow morning if it evaporates, Nobody will miss it, believe me, maybe it's not even on the account books. In this tiny speck of a solar system, planet Earth is a microspeck. In that microspeck, Singapore is a super microspeck. In that, you are a big man. This is not a small problem. This is not a small issue, this is a very complex problem because a tiny speck like you, in that what you think has become more important than the cosmic happening. Loss of perspective is total. Once you don't have a perspective as to who you are, what you are in this existence, you can never see life the way it is. You will always see life as per your identifications. If you're identified with this is the way you think. If you identify with something else, that is the way you think. So identities are fine to function in the world if it's a conscious identity. But right now, identities have become you. No, whatever you think you are, either you can put it down now and sit here, or when one has to exit, it will happen. Or at least look at this, when you sleep, when you really fall asleep, do you sleep as a man or a woman? Do you sleep as an IIM or whatever I'm asking? What do you sleep as? Do you sleep as a manager, I'm asking? No, you sleep as nothing, isn't it? You just have to do this. In yoga, we call this susupti. That means, when we are awake, we are asleep. When we are asleep, we are awake. If you are here and fully alert, but the rest of you is sleeping, if you check the pulse rate, you can see this. Right now I'm speaking, I've had breakfast and come, it's somewhere around 54, 56. If my stomach is empty and if I sit quietly, it'll just go down to 38, 36. This is because this is sleeping all the time. When it's all the time sleeping, there is no such thing as stress, there is no such thing as life becoming burdensome. So, if you know how to get into the twilight zone, where you are able to see both at the same time, wakefulness and sleep, the individual and the persona, both can be conducted at the same time, then you live a balanced, fulfilled life. Outside, you will do the best you can, but whatever happens, doesn't happen, who you are will not change. In this country, I'm sorry, the culture from which most of you come from, looking at you, the Indian culture has always valued only this as the highest quality, I want you to understand. For example, if you take the biggest icons of India, who are worshipped even today after many millennia, I can pick anybody. Let's take Rama because he's always in controversy these days. If you take Rama, he's born as a prince, coronated as a king, but then due to some unfortunate political situations, he's made to go into a jungle. He's just married with a young wife. She's not a tribal woman, she's a princess. That means she's not cut out for a jungle life, I'm saying. Looking at their plight, his brother also chooses to go with him to help them out because he knows the hardship of living in the forest. He leaves his family and goes there to support his brother and his newly married sister-in-law. Well, you might have seen movies where Sita is running around in the forest with golden deer. This is all rubbish. You go and live in the forest, in the wild, for 3 months, you will see, especially the ladies, we will not be able to recognize you after 3 months. You will become like that. Because it's hard, it's not simple to live in the wilderness. That's why we build cities. We built cities because we found living in the wilderness is hard on a human being. So very hard life. As if that was not bad enough, his wife gets kidnapped. They take her down to Sri Lanka and he starts coming down, looking for her. I must tell you this, just 3 months ago, I was in a small town in Andhra Pradesh called Nellore. Anybody from Nellore? Are Telugu people here? Okay. So, this little girl, 13, 14-year-old girl, stands up and says, Sadhguru, they're saying Rama walked all the way from Ayodhya to Sri Lanka to find his wife. Is it practical? How is it practical? How can a man walk from Ayodhya to Sri Lanka? Then I looked at her and asked her, see, you're still a young girl. In a few years, you'll find a man. When you find a man, do you want to find a man? Suppose you get lost. He will come all the way to get you, or he will think this is not practical and find a solution in the neighborhood. What do you want? No, she wants that man who'll come all the way, all right? So he went all the way down south, fought a terrible war, set fire to an entire city. All this may be shown in a funny way in a movie, but setting fire to an entire city is not a funny thing, okay? At any time in history, setting fire to an entire city is not a funny thing. But all that was done, thousands of people died, many people who were dear to him were lost. Then he brings his wife back and she is pregnant, she is fully pregnant. Once again some other situation happens, again he has to send her to the forest. No sonogram, so he does not know whether it's boys or girls, or boy or girl, he doesn't know what. She goes in the forest and delivers 2 boys. And they grow up in the jungle without seeing their father's face. And then he wages a war. He gets into a battle with these boys, where he could have killed them. He came very close to killing them. If there is a calamity in your life, unknowingly you killed your own child, this is the worst calamity that can happen to any human being, isn't it? He came very close to that. But fortunately, he didn't get to kill them. But without ever seeing his face once again, she died in the forest. You call this a successful life, I'm asking. Hello? No. But we worship him not because he was a super success of the day, simply because it does not matter what life did to him, he remained himself. He did not become bitter. He did not become angry, he did not become hateful, he did not lose his balance. Life did everything that… all the bad things that life can do to a man, all right? This is not one tragedy, series of disasters in his life. But he remained balanced, at ease. We worship that because that is blossoming of an individual. This individual is fully blossomed. Doesn't matter what life throws at him, because what life throws at you is not always your choice, but what you make out of it is 100% your choice. If you can make… it doesn't matter what life throws at you, if you can make all this into well-being, then you have blossomed as an individual and you are worthy of worship. Thank you very much. If you have questions. If you have questions, any kind of question.
We have some questions already. Please feel free to keep sending in more to the Sadhguru through the application. I'll just ask the first one that we have. Could we have them on the screen? Thank you. Question we're addressing to you first, Sadhguru, is what should we seek? Experience, knowledge, happiness or love?
when we use the word seek, any seeking is genuine only when we do not know what is the end point. We already know what is the end point and then we pretend to seek. This is a fixed match. Seeking means, genuine seeking happens only when you realize, I do not know. When you realize the immensity of I do not know. When I say the immensity of I do not know, you must understand, knowledge is a very limited thing. However much you think you know, it is very small compared to the cosmic proportions. But our ignorance is boundless. Yes or no? You can admit with me, it's okay. Our ignorance is boundless, isn't it? There is no boundaries to our ignorance. Our knowledge is a small capsule of things we have collected with which we are doing something. If you realize I do not know, you become a seeker. Seeker of what? Whatever is true. People say, I'm seeking God. You already assumed, right, that there is a God sitting there. I'm saying a seeker means you just want to find out what is true. Maybe there is a God, maybe there is a devil, maybe there is nothing, but you want to find out what it is. Your seeking is genuine only when you don't fix the goal. If you fix the goal and seek, that's not a seeking. That is just a play. It's a fixed match. Everybody knows where it is supposed to go. But you call it seeking because intellectually you need some entertainment. Otherwise, your intellects feel stupid that you're not doing anything with it, so you act like you're seeking, but you already fixed the goal. A fixed match is not an exciting match, isn't it? People around you who do not know, they may be participating fully, but two teams have fixed the match. No excitement for them. Those who are playing will not have excitement. The innocent spectators may still enjoy the match, that's different. But those who have fixed the match, for them there is no joy. So when you say, I am seeking, do not say what you should seek. Whatever is true, that's what you should seek. Whatever it is. Life is the way it is right now. You have figured a few things about it. Most of it is unfigured, isn't it? Yes? You know a little bit about it, with which you are able to conduct certain aspects of life. But what this life is, where does it come from, where does it go, what is the nature of its existence, nothing has been figured. So when you seek, you simply seek. Seeking means, I do not know has become dominant in you. You realize that you do not know much at all. Actually, you do not. If you look at the creation, you will see the further you dig into it, the more you realize you know very little. When you realize I do not know, seeking is not even a conscious thing. It is natural for human intelligence to seek, because it is very difficult for the human intellect to stay in I do not know. It will naturally seek. So seeking is a certain attitude. Seeking is not a particular kind of fixed game. It is a certain attitude where constantly, if you see I do not know, then you become an immense attention towards everything. If you become a tremendous sense of attention towards everything, every door in the universe will open for you. People talk about seeking God, seeking love, seeking this, seeking that. Suppose you found all that today. You have love in your life, you have wealth in your life, you've got… God also came and sat next to you. You think you won't be bored after 3 days? Hello? I'm asking you. You got love here, you got God here, you got devil out there, everything, the whole paraphernalia you got. You think you won't be bored? You will be bored with that also, believe me. So seeking is not about a particular thing. Seeking is about knowing what is real. And that can only happen when you genuinely see, I do not know. Then seeking will simply unfold itself.
This is a question that relates to the theme of this conference to some extent, so I'm going to ask this one. Can a computer ever become self-conscious and intelligent?
Can a?
Can a computer
Computer.
ever become self-conscious and intelligent? If yes, will man be elevated to God status?
Women will protest, huh?
Can a human being ever be elevated to God status? Thank you.
Can a computer become intelligent? It already is. With a whole lot of people, the smartest thing about them is their phone right now. Because wherever I go, I see people, they're putting the phone in front of their face. They know it's got a smarter mug than yourself. So, can it become smart? For sure. Can it become conscious? No. Can it think? Yes. Can it emote? Yes. Because thinking, emotion, all these things are happening with a certain volume of memory. A computer also has a certain amount of memory. Now there's an effort to move the computers from being silicon-based to carbon-based. If that happens, which is happening in small ways, it'll take time. Once it happens, you can build a big brain which will grow in the laboratory. And maybe then all these IIMs are not necessary because that damn one brain will manage everything. It'll manage an entire nation or the entire planet. So many small brains are not necessary. One big brain, it will manage everything, possibly better than you. Yes, because everything is systematized. But of course, you have to make the software. So will it become conscious? No. Will it think for itself? Yes. Can it have emotions? Yes. It may even tell you, I love you, whenever you want. Sensing your mood, it may start telling you, I love you. I'm telling you, you can teach a parrot to do this, sensing your emotion. Well, your dog does it. Dog knows when you need to be loud and licks you up from head to toe, isn't it? It knows when to stay away from you. So, you can also make a computer do this, it's very much possible. But will it become conscious? No. Will man, I'll correct myself, men and women, will they raise to the platform of being God? Let's see what is God. In every society, they have their own ideas about this. You know, I was speaking to a group of people in Nashville, Tennessee. I was just telling them a joke. In the joke, I referred to the God as him, the same mistake that you made. Immediately a few ladies stood up and said, do you believe God is a man? I said, whoa, 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 whoa. I know what I've gotten into. I was only telling you a joke. Doesn't matter, you said him. Do you believe God is a man? Now this is a big debate in America. Is God a man or a woman? It looks like they're going to settle it in this election. And you heard of Idi Amin, the Uganda man? Idi Amin declared God is black. I agree with him. If a white man can have a white God, why can't a black man have a black God? But you know, these people do not know. Because in all those parts of the world, God sent only His messenger, His son and somebody and somebody. But in India, we know God is brown. Because in India, God himself, not son, not messenger, himself came not once, 9 times. You know? 9 avatars, 9 times he himself came. Indians are always very proud about this. Wherever I go, I see that they're very proud. God himself came to our land. I keep reminding them, that is because God wouldn't trust Indians with anybody else. He wanted to do the job hands-on. He knows his sons and messengers cannot handle these people. But he himself came 9 times and he failed. 9 or 10 times we can debate, failure cannot be debated. It's very obvious. So, we can go on like this. Let me tell you, this happened. In New York City, an 8-year-old boy came back from school in the afternoon. He had a very progressive mother. Obviously, she's single. And he came home and asked, "Mama, is God man or a woman?" She thought all the political correctness and equations of it and of the coming presidential campaign, everything, and then she said, "Both," with much thought. Then he went into deep thought and he came back again and said, "Mama, is God black or white?" Again she went into an entire debate within herself and then she said, "Both." Again the boy went into deep thought. Then after some time he came back and said, "Mama, is God straight or gay?" She again thought about it and said, "Both." Then the boy jumped in joy, I got it, it's Michael Jackson." So, it depends what's your idea of God. Everybody has their own ideas of God. Nobody's seen one, all right? Everybody has their own ideas of God. So, will men and women become gods? They may like to, but they don't understand that everything that we create is fundamentally from the material that's already there, okay? This happened in 2050. In the year 2050, the scientists of the world got an appointment with God. They went there and said, "Hey, old man, it's time you retire, because everything that you can do, we can also do." God said, "Is that so? What is it that you can do?" They said, "Well, we can create life as you did." He said, "Let me see a demo." They took some soil from the earth and did all kinds of things, and it became a living baby and it cried. God said, "That's quite impressive, but first get your own soil." So, we can do many things, but we are referring to something which is the very source of creation, gets referred to as God. That's not a term I would like to use because it's a hugely contaminated word right now. People have used it and misused it because whenever somebody says, "God spoke to me," I know a disaster is coming. Whenever somebody claims, "God has spoken to me," you can be quite sure disaster is in the way. Yes or no? Because in the name of all these people to whom God spoke, they're the people who've done the most horrendous things on the planet. So, then you may become like this. If you have elevated yourself to the position of God, if you speak, there's going to be a disaster. So if we elevate ourselves into a position that we do not know what it spells for us, that's a disaster. So it is just that if we produce computers which can think for us, which can do things for us, which can take care of many things, you are supposed… all menial jobs are taken away. Already, a whole lot of menial jobs are taken away. Work has moved into a more cerebral space. Even if that is taken, that means your life is one big holiday. If your life becomes one big holiday, This does not mean get drowned in drink or drug and be there. Holiday means you do what matters to you. Yes? What means most to you, that's what you do. So if your entire life is a holiday, see, my life is a holiday. I will not die of tension, I may die of exhaustion doing little too much of a holiday, but I will not die of stress because this is a holiday. Because when you are doing only what really matters to you, your life is a holiday. So if the computer takes care of all the menial jobs of producing food and managing cities and doing everything, we can just sit back and look and do whatever is the highest thing we can do in our lives, within ourselves and around ourselves. So it'll give us a tremendous opportunity to be more human than ever, because right now, in trying to earn a living, we want to elbow everybody and go. If earning a living is not even an issue on the planet, the computer does it for you, how beautiful it would be. I'm looking forward to that day, not to become a god, so that to see that every human being comes to ease and becomes human.
Thank you. This is a simpler question, but it has lots of likes, so clearly it matters to everyone. With career, kids and home all wanting your attention, how does one identify the individual and in turn reduce the frustration?
Reduce the frustration. That's a very modest, aspiration, just to reduce the frustration. But why frustration? Why do you think frustration is a part of your life? You know, the first time I went to United States many years ago, wherever I went, people were talking about stress management. I couldn't understand why they're managing stress. Because in my understanding, we manage things which are precious to us, our family, our wealth, our business, our activity. We want to manage many things. Why would anybody want to manage stress? It took me a little while to understand that they have made stress as a part of their life. Now you're saying it's a popular question, it looks like many people have made frustration a part of their life. I want you to look back. Go back to the square one of your life. When you were a 5-year-old child, there was no frustration, you were bubbling with joy, isn't it? So that is a natural part of life. Now you're aspiring to be joyful, I thought, but now you're aspiring to be little less frustrated than you are. Why? The pressures of career, family, children. I thought you got married, you produced children, you took a career to make your life, not to destroy your life. Yes? Hello? What was the intention? To destroy your life you got married? To destroy your life you produced children? To destroy your life you chose a career? No, to make your life. Right now I want you to understand, human beings have gotten into a mode where they're capable of suffering just about anything. You make them poor, they will suffer the poverty. Make them rich, they'll suffer the taxes. Not educated, they suffer that. Put them to school, endless suffering. Not married, they suffer that. Get them married. I didn't say anything, okay? I did not say anything. No children, they suffer that. Give them children, daily suffering. What is it that they don't suffer? So somebody makes a philosophy, life is suffering. No, life is not suffering, this is all that's happened to you. The fundamental faculties that you have in the form of your body and your mind, not taking instructions from you. If your mind took instructions from you and you alone, would you keep yourself blissful or miserable? You must make a choice right now because I'm going to bless you. Blissful or miserable and frustrated? Blissful. That's your choice. At least for yourself, highest level of pleasantness is your choice, isn't it? What you want for your neighbor may be debatable, but you want highest level of pleasantness. Why is it not happening? Not because of wife, not because of children, not because of job, simply because your mind is not taking instructions from you. Someone came to me 2 months ago and he's a very prominent CEO of a major company. Said, Sadhguru, I can't take it anymore. This is getting too bad. Then I said, may you be fired. He said, Sadhguru, what are you doing? I said, well, you said you can't take it, you're suffering immensely. But what will I do? He said, take a walk on the beach. If you don't know how to enjoy your office, why the hell are you going there? I'm sure somebody's waiting to take the job. I'm saying, what is your life about? What is your life about? You think if you suffer a lot, in the end somebody is going to give you a gold medal? No, they'll just bury you anyway, whether you enjoyed it or you suffered it. Yes or no? I know some idiots have told you, if you do this, this and that, you'll go and sit in heaven, if you do that, that and that, you will go and sit in hell. No. If you enjoy this process, same thing will happen in the end. If you suffer this process, same thing will happen in the end, isn't it? And it is anyway a fixed match. I'll tell you, I'll reveal a great secret to you. There is no such thing as failure in life. You shall anyway pass. If you're afraid, I may fail and I may be detained in the same place, no, there's no such thing. In school you were afraid you may be detained in the same class forever. There is no such thing, you shall pass, don't worry. Only thing is, do you want to pass joyfully or miserably, that's all the choice. Now, your job, your wife, your husband, your children, these are all things that you created for your well-being, isn't it? Yes or no? But now you think they are the source of your misery. No. If we take them away, will you be joyful? No. If we give them to you, will you be joyful? No. So who is the problem here? People come to me and say, Sadhguru, my mother-in-law, she's… no words for her. And my husband, oh, he's an alien. What else can happen when a woman like that bears a son? My wife, impossible she is. My boss, like this stories about everybody around them. Everybody who plays a significant role in their life. Then I say, you come, don't worry, your mother-in-law, husband, wife, boss, nobody will enter the yoga center, just you. I'll give you a nice place to stay and good food, nothing to do, just be joyful. No mother-in-law, you must be joyful. No husband, no wife, no boss, you must be really joyful. I will come and do random checks on you. If I find you're not joyful, you're in some state of misery, I don't believe in feeding misery. So we will put you without food. If you're joyful, I will feed you and take care of you for the rest of your life. Oh, 24 hours you put them in a room, you will see how they will twist themselves. See, when you're alone, if you're miserable, you must be in bad company, isn't it? So, you don't learn to balance between your wife and husband and children and work, you don't try to balance all that. There is one thing you have to do, that your mind and your body takes instructions from you. If this one thing happens, you will manage everything to the best of your ability. Everything will go the way you want? No. That's why I told you about Rama, nothing went the way he wants, but still, the embodiment of peace and blissfulness, people worship him after many millennia because no disaster pulled him off his track. This will come to you if you pay little attention, if you turn inward. We can give you tools. The reason why it seems so difficult right now is because there are no necessary tools, your education systems never paid any attention to it. All of you from IIM, what, all Ahmedabad? I just came from Ahmedabad 2 days ago. All of you Ahmedabad? No, from many places. This management institute never told you how to turn inward. Right from kindergarten, nobody told you how to manage this. No tools, all kinds of tools for the marketplace, no tools for this. It's like this, there is a screw in this furniture. I will ask you to unscrew this screw with your hands. You will see all your nails will go, but screw won't come. I will allow you to use your teeth, that also few will go, screw won't come. But if I give you a simple screwdriver, in a minute you will get it out, isn't it? This is the power of the tool. As there are tools for creating external situations, there are subjective tools to create inner situation. Without a tool, if you try to do something, it seems to be impossible. With the necessary tool, if you do something, it's just a play. As human beings, we are dominating this planet today, not necessarily because of anything else, simply because we have the ability to use tools. No other creature on the planet has the ability to use tools. If chimpanzees or monkeys had machine guns, I'm sure they would have dominated. Yes or no? Our ability to use tools is what has set us apart, but somehow the last 2 generations have taken this position that they don't need any tools to manage this. The most complex machine. To manage this, if you think you don't need any tools, then it will be a struggle. Husband, wife, children, job. This is the most rudimentary situation in one's life. Simplest situation, I'm saying. This is breaking your mind. No, then you must take on something like me and see what happens to you. You'll crack up in 2 days. This is not a great thing. Being married, having a couple of children, having a job is just survival. If this is breaking your head, this is an insult to humanity, believe me. This is because your mind is in a compulsive state of thought. This is fundamentally coming from what we started in the beginning. You're identified with things that you're not. Once your entire existence right now is rooted in the memory that you have gathered, you will invariably be a compulsive thought process. Once you're in the haze of compulsive thought process, you cannot conduct anything consciously. Everything is compulsive. Now, things that matter to you, things that mean most to you, your family, your career, your children, whatever, these things are torturous. Things that truly matter to you in your life. How come they are a source of torture? That they are a source of frustration? It should not be. That is not the source of frustration. The source of frustration is your mind is not taking instructions from you. If it took instructions from you, I am 100% guaranteed that all of you will conduct yourself blissfully. Yes, I can trust you on that, right? Hello? I can trust you on this. If your mind took instructions from you, you would keep yourself blissful, not frustrated.
Asking you questions throughout the day, but I've been cautioned that we have time for one last question, if that's okay. So I'm going to ask something that's may take a little while to answer. What is the secret to indomitable happiness and joy?
This happened in 1924. There was a bishop in the Orthodox Greek community. Orthodox Greek Christians have their own pope and he lives in Istanbul, you know this? Generally, Orthodox Greek community believes they are the only true Christians, rest are all no good. And they have their own pope in Istanbul. Being in Istanbul, You know, being on the Silk Route, various stories of mysticism, of yoga, of magic and all kinds of things wafting across the Bosphorus from India. So this bishop always wanted to go to India and meet a true mystic or a yogi. But it never happened because he's a man of cloth, he cannot decide where to go. But over 60 years of age, when he's semi-retired, he got an opportunity to come to southern India. He came. He wants to see a mystic. So somebody told him, you go up this mountain like this, some landmarks. There is a cave, in that there is a yogi, he is the man you're looking for. So he went. Mountain is a place where you can't lie to yourself. In the city, you can walk around on your high heels and look like you're really fit and fine. If I take you up the mountain, suddenly everything will come out. The truth will just spill out very easily. So as he was climbing up, he realized that he is not made for the mountains. He huffed and puffed and got there. Then he saw in front of the cave, as it was described to him, a yogi was sitting totally blissed out. He went there and people had told him, if you see an Indian yogi, you must go and grab his legs. So he went down, but going down was not easy because there were obstacles on the way. With great difficulty, he went down and huffed and puffed and sat up. Hearing all this commotion, the yogi opened his eyes and smiled. Immediately the bishop asked, can I ask you a question? The yogi said, by all means. Then the bishop asked, what is life? This is after 60, huh? You should have asked this question when you were 8. If you're too childish, at least by 16 you should have asked, what is this life about? 60, what to do? Better late than never. So, when he asked this question, what is life, the yogi went into raptures and said, life is like the fragrance of a jasmine upon the spring breeze. The bishop looked like this, what? Fragrance of jasmine upon the spring breeze? My teacher told me, life is like a thorn. Once it gets into you, if you sit it hurts, if you stand it hurts, if you lie down it hurts. If you're not married it hurts, if you get married it hurts, no children it hurts, children it hurts, no job it hurts, job it hurts. But you're saying it is like the fragrance of jasmine upon gentle spring breeze? The yogi laughed and said, well, that's his life. I'm saying, what is joy and what is misery is not in the content of your life. It is just that, to put it very simply and technically is your mind taking instructions from you or no? If your mind is taking instructions from you, you will keep yourself in pleasantness. If your body is taking instructions from you, you will keep your body pleasant. Right now it's not like that, they do their own thing. Even your body, it does its own thing. How many times it so happened that you decided you will get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and you will jog or swim and exercise and yoga and da-da-da, everything. You kept the alarm, Trrrrng. Your body says, shut up and sleep. Not happened to you? You wanted to get up, but your body says, come on, I've seen you enough, sleep now. And you go back to sleep. With mind, there are too many manifestations. What this is this. See, if this body becomes pleasant, we call this health. Becomes very pleasant, we call it pleasure. This mind becomes pleasant, we call this peace. Very pleasant, we call it joy. If the emotions become pleasant, we call this love. Becomes very pleasant, we call this compassion. If this very life energy becomes pleasant, we call this blissfulness. If it becomes very pleasant, we call it ecstasy. If your surroundings become pleasant, we call this success. Only for the last one, that is to make surroundings pleasant, You need the cooperation of many forces around you. If you want your surroundings to be pleasant, you need the cooperation of many forces around you, many people around you. But for all the other things, only you is needed. But you must be an individual, not a crowd of people within yourself. If you have so many identifications, you are everything but an individual. This one, a crowd, which we call as a personality, if it becomes happy, it is by accident. If it becomes unhappy, that is also an accident. See, it is not that you do not know joy, it is not that you do not know love, it is not that you do not know blissfulness and ecstasy, you know. Only thing is, it's not sustainable, isn't it? Yes or no? If you did not have a moment of joy in your life, believe me, you would be dead by now. You would not venture to live this long. There are moments of joy, there are moments of love, there are moments of blissfulness and ecstasy. Only thing is not sustainable. It is not happening 24 hours of the day, it's going up and down. That is because you're simply bullshitting yourself into well-being. Well-being will not happen to you by arranging things around you. By arranging things, comfort and convenience will come. If you want well-being, in is the only way out. If you turn inward, it's possible. But turning inward right now looks impossible because the only five faculties which you have developed of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting and touching, this is the way you know the world. All these things are outward bound. You can see what's around you, you can't roll your eyeballs and scan yourself. You can hear that, so much activity in this body, you cannot hear that. Even if an ant crawls upon this hand, you can feel it. So much blood flowing, you cannot feel it. In the very nature of things, your sense organs are outward bound. But the entire experience of life happens within you. When I say entire experience of life happens within you, can you at least see me right now? Even if you're not listening to me, it's okay. Can you see me? Hello? Use one hand and point out where I am. Ah, you got it wrong, you know I'm a mystic, you know. Now the light is falling upon me, reflecting, going through your lenses, inverted image in the retina, you know the whole story, right? Where do you see me right now? Within yourself. Where do you hear me right now? Within yourself. Where have you seen the whole world? Within yourself. Have you ever experienced anything outside of yourself? Anything that ever happened to you happened only within you. Light and darkness happened within you. Pain and pleasure happened within you. Joy and misery happened within you. Agony and ecstasy happened within you. Anything that ever happened to you happened only within you. Right now, somebody next to you, if they touch your hand, you think you're experiencing their hand. No. You're only experiencing the sensations which happen in your hand. You cannot, in the very nature of things, experience the other hand. Even without the help of this hand, if you have a vivid imagination, you can experience the touch of the hand without the hand, isn't it so? Yes or no? So everything that ever happens to you happens only within you, but sense organs are all outward bound. So in a way, the necessary little bit of striving to turn inward and connect these two things and be able to decipher between what happens within and the way we perceive through the sense organs, this aspect has not been completed. Because we got too busy with the outside world, we did not pay enough attention to this. Do you agree with me that this human mechanism is the most sophisticated machine on the planet, highest level of technology on the planet? Do you agree with me? I'm asking you, have you read the user's manual? You've not read the user's manual, how do you expect to use it well? By accident? When you do it by accident, simplest things, you're talking about happiness. This was the simplest thing when you were a child, isn't it? To be peaceful and happy was very natural, it was not an achievement. Simplest things are becoming complex simply because you have not read the user's manual, not paid enough attention to this. If you're willing to spend 30 hours of focus time, 30 hours of focus time, it can be arranged in many different ways. We can give you tools to turn inward and read your own user's manual and know enough about this so that you can conduct this well. It is something that everybody must do, because whether you will become the richest man on the planet or not, we don't know. That's subject to many things. Whether you will become the greatest human being on the planet or not, we do not know, because it is question of times in which we live. Whether you will climb Mount Everest or not, I do not know. Whether you will run faster than Mr. Bolt or not, I do not know. But every one of you are competent enough to make your experience of life upon this planet very pleasant. This is something everybody must do, and this is something every human being deserves. Other things are subject to various realities, but one's life upon this planet is a pleasant experience. At least this much every human being deserves, this much is possible for every human being. Only thing is, the so-called growing up, they did not give you the necessary tools, which was very much a part of our life some time ago. Unfortunately, we have eliminated that thinking by fixing the outside, everything will be okay. Thank you very much for being here.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have time for a short break to reflect over what you just heard. For those of you who've missed the Imaginarium, please make sure to make your way to that. We do have a short video that we're going to play during the break for you. Thank you. Isha Foundation have brought some books with them on some of the subjects that Sadhguru spoke about, so you may want to look at them in the foyer. Some books from the Isha Foundation in the foyer.